Andrew is a sweet-looking boy, and we know this by the reflection we see of him in the mirror. He's playing with his camcorder and pretending to ignore the sounds around him. His dad's in the other room, drunk and yelling, and his mom is crying about her pain. Andrew just hides away from it. His camera is his life and his escape. Andrew's cousin Matt will pick him up for school, and they'll talk about school and life and parties. Matt will get annoyed a bit at Andrew's constant filming, but will grace us with a horrible song for the benefit of the camera. He seems to care about Andrew, but sorta keeps his distance for reputation reasons. Andrew is a loner, you can tell. He probably gets picked on regularly. He seems very sweet, but doesn't seem to notice how he makes others around him feel. He videos everything and kinda creeps the cheerleaders out. He's just a sweet, unaware nerd, really. He will get bullied in the hallway later that day. This often happens in movies about teenagers. His camera will get kicked around, no one defends him. Teenagers are scary. His cousin will tell him about a party on the way home from school and tell him he should get out and go, but that he should cut back on the filming. Not everyone likes it. Andrew doesn't care what everyone likes and takes the camera anyway. Andrew's dad is an alcoholic and an angry one at that. He's a firefighter who has lost his job from a work accident and his wife is dying of cancer. He has a lot to be angry about. Unfortunately, he takes it out on Andrew. So Andrew goes to the party and tapes, of course.
Just go and do your own thing for once, okay?
And his cousin runs into a girl that he very obviously likes, and she also videos for her vlog. So it's cool when she does it, but Andrew's an annoying nerd. So frustrating for him and every other teenager that has to deal with this BS in real life and in movies. But the girl is sweet, so we aren't mad. So his cousin Matt gets all stupid around this girl and tries to go all philosophical and just bombs. Or so he thinks. Andrew's going to get bullied again and will leave the party to cry, alone. Man, I want to give this kid a hug. So anyway, Andrew's crying when the school jock, bad boy, school president, captain of the football team, finds him. His name is Steve, and we fully expect that some more bullying is coming Andrew's way. Steve lets him know his cousin Matt is with him and that they found something really cool and want to borrow his camera or have him film it for them. He reluctantly follows. Can you blame him? No need to worry though. Steve is one of the good guys.
Matt! Yeah, where did everybody go?
So they found this giant hole in the ground, and when they yell into it, it emits this strange deep vibration that blows them all away. They're completely taken aback with this. So Steve and Matt go down into the hole. Andrew is freaking out, telling him to get out. They don't know how deep this thing is or if it'll cave in. When they don't listen and disappear inside, there is only one thing Andrew can do. Call the police or another adult to help him? No. He crawls in after them. This hole goes on for a while, and they play around in it and whatnot. But nothing major happens. Just kidding. So they're deep in this hole and tunnel, and they see what appears to be a glowing honeycomb attached to the walls and ceiling. It's loud and throbbing, and the kids are yelling, and Andrew's camera is glitching, and they start to just yell over the noise when Steve gets a nosebleed and the camera shuts off. The camera once again starts rolling, but it's a sunny day and the guys are all playing a game in the backyard. Matt and Steve are throwing a ball at each other and trying to dodge it unsuccessfully. Steve gets hit with a rock in the side of the head and they're laughing. And then Matt gets hit. Andrew decides to give it a try and he stops the ball mid-air, just stops it and makes it sit in space. They are all amazed. And then he hits one of the boys with the ball when he sends it back with his mind. It's never made clear how they even know that they could do this. It just sort of happens. They will also experiment with Legos and put them together with their minds. The movie jumps around quite a bit and filming starts and stops without consideration of the how and why we're at a new place. So let's just accept it, okay? Andrew appears to be getting the hang of controlling things quickly and excels past Matt and Steve. He is a very thoughtful boy. He also spends time alone recording and just being in his new strange mind. When the boys go back to the site of the incident, the place looks completely different in the daylight, and they find that the hole has closed. The police tell them the ground is unstable and they have to leave the site. Andrew will visit one more time alone. Steve and Andrew are out one night, and we see Andrew has a new camera, smaller and twice the battery storage. Steve asks him why he films all the time, tells Andrew he's just seeing the world through a glass, separated from the other side, and Steve says,
It puts a barrier between you and everything else.
Andrew explains that he wants it that way. That's how he lived most of his life. This will probably hit home for lots of YouTubers. The boys will talk about their families, and Steve, although popular, is growing close to Andrew, and Andrew to Steve. No one has ever treated Andrew this way, as an actual friend. Steve also is treated very differently being so popular, and he just sometimes wants someone to talk to. They're exactly what the other needed. These two boys would have never found each other if not for that bizarre finding of the hole in the ground. They probably never would have become friends. They're superhero bros now. Although Andrew's mom is sick, he takes her to the docks for some fresh air, and he films her. She tells him to stay strong. Mom is dying, and they both know it. Andrew, Matt, and Steve decide to take the experiment outside their own homes and see what they can do and what people notice in the real world. So they start just messing with people in public, making things move and overall just kind of thinking they're being funny, but they're actually bullying people a bit. They're trying to move larger objects and move them faster, and Steve discovers he can move a car with mind control, telekinesis. The boys will experiment a lot, but when they do, they end up with nosebleeds. They're straining so hard and using so much control, the body almost can't handle it. So they're driving around and a guy's tailgating them horribly and honking at them. He's just being such a jerk, and Andrew decides to scare him a bit, but he doesn't realize his power and he pushes his vehicle off the road and into a creek where the car is submerged. Steve tries to use mind power to lift it out of the water, but it isn't successful, so he goes in to save the man. Matt and Steve are furious with Andrew, and he's apologizing, but he doesn't have full control yet, so it's not like he meant to. Matt decides they need rules for the powers, and Andrew doesn't like this at all. Andrew is yelled at quite a bit from his dad and has been in his own world for so long that I think the power is all he wants. It gives him freedom, and he doesn't want anyone to parent him. Matt is acting like his dad, and Andrew's already growing more powerful, so they're at odds quite a bit. Matt picks Andrew up the next day, and they seem tense with each other about the accident. Matt says he's not mad, he's just bugged. We can tell, Matt. So they meet Steve at a closed plant of some sort, and when they get there, they find him. He is flying above them. He has tapped into a new power, and they are loving it. Matt tries and just keeps hitting the ground. They're all laughing, but Andrew and Steve seem to have no problems at all. Andrew gives the camera to Matt, and he jumps up and comes back to the ground slowly. We're flying! The boys have all mastered the ability, and they're flying everywhere. They're as high and fast as planes, and they love it. I need to take a moment here and say how jealous I am. I want to fly. I dream of it, and these guys get to actually do it. I need to find a weird science experiment and fall inside. So the boys are playing ball in the clouds and can literally go anywhere. They are all dressed warm because they say it's freezing up there, but it looks incredible. I was just thinking about planes and wondering if the boys had been thinking about planes when a plane hit Steve. Steve is in a flat spin, headed to the earth. Andrew is able to catch him as he's falling unconscious to the earth while still holding the camera and filming. He saves Steve and they land with a crash. Steve comes to and jumps up and is on a massive adrenaline rush. Matt comes crashing down about this time and they all start shouting. As scary and horrifying as it was also an incredible experience. The boys talk about all the places they can go now, so many things they can do with the flying ability, and Andrew says he wants to go to Tibet. Steve and Matt kinda laugh, but he says it's so quiet and peaceful there. Matt's going to tell the guys he has an appointment, but he's really going to see the vlog girl he likes. They, the girl Casey and Matt, will have an awkward encounter, but will ultimately fall for each other. While he's working on his game, Steve and Andrew will fly to the city and they'll just sit on the top of a building downtown. They're perched on the edge when Steve notices the camera is just floating around filming them, and Andrew says he discovered a while back that he can control it with thought. Steve is impressed. They talk more about their families and their problems at home. Steve tells Andrew he wants him to be in the talent show with him, and Andrew's like, what? The popular kid and the class nerd together? Andrew says,
I don't even have any talents.
He says this while sitting on top of a rooftop that he flew to. So a couple days go by and they do the talent show, and since they have powers no one knows about, Andrew comes off as a true magician, and now everyone wants to get to know him. He's popular all of a sudden, and Steve and Matt are both happy for him.
Seriously, how are they doing this?
Fans who win. You the man of the hour.
They'll all meet up at a party where Andrew is now the most popular boy. I bet the cheerleaders actually want to be filmed now. He'll finally get some alone time with a girl when things pop off a little too quickly, if you know what I mean. And when the girl leaves all freaked out, Steve is trying to be supportive, but Andrew is too embarrassed and acts like a jerk, honestly. But Andrew just can't catch a break from the kids at school. So the boys seem to be drifting apart a bit, but it's as though Andrew is having trouble dealing with the power now. He's getting angry easily and just seems off. He hurts his dad after he finds the camera and makes fun of him about some of the footage in it. Steve finds Andrew flying, and because they have also discovered that they can sense each other, which may explain some of the nosebleeds, their moods can be felt and where they are can be felt, and also if they're hurt. So Steve wants to talk to Andrew, who's flying in the clouds and just wants to be left alone. It's life, and it's cruel to everyone at one time or another. But when Steve flies up and tries to help him, Andrew gets mad and won't listen to Steve. He lashes out with his powers, and he electrocutes Steve. They're at Steve's funeral, and Andrew uses his powers there, and Matt is just upset. He's filming and being thoughtless. He's not the same Andrew. The power has taken him over, and he's just mean now. Andrew can now do almost anything he wants, and proves it when he pulls the school bully's teeth out of his head in the middle of the hall in front of everyone. It's gross, and he feels zero remorse. He goes into the bathroom and explains how he did it, and how he needed to work on perfecting it. Andrew is now the bully. This is when he decides to get his mom the meds she needs by robbing some guys. And when that doesn't work, he moves on to full robbery at a convenience store. This goes terribly wrong, and he hurts himself badly. The building explodes and the clerk dies. He's in the hospital, and Matt can sense that something's wrong with him from far away at his girlfriend's house. His girlfriend is getting upset and scared because Matt has a really bad nosebleed. He says it's Andrew. He's in danger and he has to go find him. Andrew's dad is sitting by his bedside in the hospital. Andrew is unconscious, and his dad tells him that while he was out causing a commotion, his mom has died, and it's all his fault. His dad is brutal, actually. Andrew hears it all and proceeds to blow the entire side of the building out. Glass shatters everywhere, and we assume he and his dad are dead. Matt and his girl will see this on the news and rush to the scene. Andrew, in front of God and all the TV cameras, flies out of the hospital holding his dad and drops him. Matt flies up and catches him. Two teenage boys are flying. There's chaos and confusion everywhere. Andrew is not himself now at all. This is clear to all of us. We can see it won't end well, and it doesn't. With the news channels filming and the police following them, Matt and Andrew will have a superhero versus supervillain battle royale.
I'm an apex predator.
They're going to throw each other through buildings and take out cars. Glass will be shattered and the downtown area will be totally destroyed. Matt's begging Andrew to snap out of it. He's trying to reason with him and plead for him to just stop. He keeps saying, it's too late. Andrew has no plans to stop. He is absolutely crazy. The police shoot at him and he just brushes them off as if they don't exist. He stops their bullets and then blows their cars up along with them. He has zero regard for human life, and Matt is upset by it all. When Matt sees the chance to stop Andrew, he takes it. He impales him in the middle of downtown with a javelin that he takes off a statue. He is crushed. He has not only lost his cousin, but his best friends, both. In his defense, he pleaded with Andrew and did try to reason with him. The police have guns pointed on him and are shouting for him to surrender, just as we think he's about to get caught or give up. He falters a bit and flies off. Matt's flying for some time, and the landscape beneath him is changing. He's traveling really far. He lands on a snow-capped mountain. It's brutally cold and absolutely beautiful. Matt's filming himself, and he is bundled up with a hiking pack. He says, "You made it. Goodbye, Andrew." Matt flies away. What a strange and exciting movie that was. What would you do with all that power? Besides fly, of course. Would you want to control it and use it for the good of all mankind? Or would you hide it from the world? Imagine what the government would do to you, and what they would do with the power source if they found it. Would that alone force you to keep it a secret? What would you have done differently? Until next time.